Marriage is not just a desire of your heart, but a battlefield of the Spirit. And when you pray for marriage, you are not simply asking God for a partner. You are waging war against hidden forces that secretly want to delay, corrupt, or destroy the covenant God intends for you. And this is why your prayers feel so heavy, why the silence from heaven can be so shocking. Because Ephesians 6:12 reminds you that your struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, and powers in the unseen realm. And the first thing you must understand is that prayer for marriage is not primarily about finding the right one, but about becoming the right one. Because God will not join you to someone if your heart is still chained to bitterness, lust, or fear. And so the hidden work He does in you, breaking old soul ties, exposing wounds you've buried, forcing you to confront unforgiveness, is not punishment, but preparation. And you must not despise the delay, because Romans 8:28 assures you that all things are working together for good. Even the tears you've cried alone at night when it felt like your prayers bounced off the ceiling. And the shocking truth is that unanswered prayers are often the clearest answers. For what you call silence is God secretly saying, "Not yet," because He knows that premature unions end in pain, but prepared unions advance His kingdom, and you must learn to pray not only for a spouse, but for discernment. Because not every hand that reaches for you is sent by God, and Satan loves to send counterfeits dressed in the language of love, offering you attention that feels like affirmation, but ends in destruction. And this is why Jesus warned in Matthew 7:15 about wolves in sheep's clothing. Because when you pray for marriage, the enemy hears too, and he will tempt you with almost right people who keep you distracted from God's timing. And this is why your prayer must be sharper, asking the Spirit to reveal the hidden motives of those who enter your life, to shut doors no human hand can open, to expose deception before it destroys you. And here is the mystery. Prayer for marriage is less about what you say and more about how much you are willing to surrender. Because when you cling to your own timeline, your own idea of the perfect spouse, your heart resists the one who knows the end from the beginning. And Isaiah 55:8 reminds you that His thoughts are not your thoughts. His ways are not your ways, and until you release control, you will stay trapped in cycles of frustration. But the moment you pray, "Lord, align me with your will, even if it breaks my pride," heaven moves in ways you cannot see, aligning two journeys, two stories, two lives that seem random, but are secretly being woven into a covenant of destiny. And the hidden truth many miss is that marriage prayer is also warfare for legacy. Because when you ask God for a spouse, you are not just asking for companionship. You are asking for the birthing of generations, the shaping of children who will either serve God or be devoured by the world. And that is why the enemy fights your marriage before it even begins, whispering lies of loneliness, pushing you toward impatience, convincing you to settle for less, because he knows that a God-ordained marriage is not just about romance, but about rulership, dominion, and witness. And this is why your prayer must also include protection. Lord, shield my future marriage from division, betrayal, and attack. Because Jesus Himself said in Mark 10:9, "What God has joined together, let no man separate." And when you pray those words with faith, you are invoking divine guardianship over a union that hell is already plotting against. And another hidden layer of praying for marriage is intercession. Because sometimes the delay is not about you, but about the other person who is still in process, still being freed, still learning obedience. And if you only pray selfishly, God, send them now, you miss the higher calling of interceding. God, strengthen them where they are, prepare them for me as you prepare me for them. And this kind of prayer carries a fragrance that moves heaven, because it proves you are not chasing an idol, but aligning with covenant purpose. And finally, you must understand that prayer for marriage is the place where faith is tested most severely, because it is easy to pray for healing when you feel sick. It is easy to pray for provision when you are broke. But to pray for a spouse day after day, while years pass, while others marry, while loneliness presses in, demands a faith that refuses to bow to comparison or despair. And it is in this crucible that God secretly refines your faith, making you like Abraham, who believed against all hope, like Hannah, who prayed bitter tears until her womb was opened, like Ruth, who remained faithful until God led her to Boaz. And the warning is this: if you give up too soon, you will marry out of flesh what was meant to be birthed by spirit. And the cost of that mistake will not just be years of regret, but a generational echo of brokenness. But if you persist, if you cling to the promise of Psalm 37:4, that He will give you the desires of your heart as you delight in Him, then your marriage will not be a desperate grasp at love, but a testimony of divine alignment. And so, I challenge you now. Do not pray weak prayers. Do not whisper requests half-drenched in doubt, but stand boldly, declare with faith, and align with heaven's timing. Because the shocking truth is that your marriage prayer is not just about you finding someone. It is about God finding a vessel He can trust with covenant, legacy, and destiny. So pray as if the future of generations depends on it, because in reality, it does.